How it feel to be a dad? How it feel to be a man? Get prepared by any means. Sticking to the plan. Yeah, I do this for my seeds. Come and listen, come and see. Remember, it was just me. Now it's all about me. Lead by example. This for my child. I swear I got you for life. Went from the court to talking about buckets. Now we talking pampers and pipes. I really love this though. Look at you and get inspired. You the fuel to my fire. Man, let me change your diaper dash. Yeah.
Are you ready, GQ?
Don't ask me if I'm ready, nigga.
Nigga, shut up. I get it. I get it. Pregame on the hill is here. Let's dumb that shit down. Let's dumb that shit down. Nah. Whenever you're ready, man. You let me know.
Listen, what it is, man. We are back again. Happy holidays to everyone. It's your boy GQ.
And it is your boy Boog. Welcome back to Diaper Dad's podcast. We got a tremendous set of people in the room. Listen, for those that don't know, GQ used to be a part of a clan back in the day, 3 or 4 years ago. Pregame on the Hill, right? Your boy Boog was on Pregame on the Hill, one episode, didn't say a word. I was mad, nervous. Never forget that day. But listen, we got them folks in the building. We got my boy Obi on the episode. We got my boy Njegan with us too. GQ, take it from there.
Listen, man. Listen. Like I told the waiter yesterday, give me more energy. All right, more energy, man. God. These are my guys. All right. If y'all don't know, right? I started a podcast. And I asked these guys to be on my podcast.
That's crazy. That is insane. That is pure foolery.
2 seconds. All right, now he started the podcast. That's crazy.
He don't realize that like y'all was doing this back in the basement at 101 East Wells. He's not acting. He wasn't there, bro.
Yo.
Man. Hold on. I went over that about 10 times, and it played out exactly how I thought in my head. But all jokes aside, man, maybe like 5 years ago, Obi started a podcast. He was probably the only person I know that was thinking like this. I just thought it was just something, just to, whatever. But 5 years went by. And we had like some good content, you know what I mean? Happy, grateful to be a part of it. But I'll let Obi speak on it, man. Go ahead, Obi.
Yeah, man. First and foremost, appreciate y'all Boog and GQ for having us on, man. It's been a while since I've done a podcast. I was doing it every Friday. I love the grind. I love talk to my people, man. Y'all bringing me back, bringing all that energy back. You feel me? But like GQ said, man, it was around like 2016. I was real heavy in the Federal Hill game. If y'all don't know, that's Baltimore, Maryland. There's a going out scene, bar scene that I was real into in my mid-20s, like 26 years old. And we would have these pre-games at my house at like 101 East Wells. Y'all know it, man. And we would just have these like funny, good, public conversations, just about women. We would have it about basketball. We would have it about relationships. We would have it about how we as men are thinking. And I was like, we got to get this content on a podcast. And you got to remember, like 2016, podcasts was still kind of new. Not a lot of people were like doing it. Not a lot of people were thinking about doing it. Not a lot of people knew how to even start it, right? So I was just like, myself, I didn't really know how to start it. I just knew some people. I would listen to some here and there. Joe Budden podcast was a big thing. It was coming up, right? Listen to other sports podcasts. I was like, how do you start this, man? How do you start this? And make a long story short, I hit a couple people up who kind of gave me the little bit of knowledge I needed to just start this podcast, which formerly is known as Pregame on the Hill. And when I first started it, man, it's tough to get a cast together that I eventually ended up getting, but it was me and my current roommate in San Diego, John, and another person, and I would have a couple practice runs, man. y'all know starting a podcast is just tough. You don't know where your voice should be, how you interact with other people, when other people can interrupt each other, right? So that point, that startup, it was difficult. But I kept fine-tuning, and one day I posted something on my Snap. My man GQ hit me. He was like, yo, I've always wanted to do this, man. Next time you do it, come tell me and I'm coming through. I said, bet, say less. So at the same time, I was like, who else would be a good one? I was like, I got to hit my man Njegan up, because I just know he is not afraid to say an opinion, because that's what you need on a podcast. People are not afraid to say their opinion. So my man GQ, Njegan, and then Mitchell, wherever he's at, White Boy Mitchell was on the pod. It was the start of really the pregame on the hill, man. And we gave you insight into how guys thought at pregames. And it was a very, very nefarious topic among the hill. We were growing. We were doing well. We were branching off into kind of the streets. People would come up to us pregame on the hill. We were doing live podcasts, and it was good showing, man. I just want to thank you, Njegan and Mitch, for that, man, because that was a great, definitely 2.5 years of doing the podcast run. And then afterwards, I moved to San Diego. Mitch moved to, I think, Guatemala or something to do some teaching. And the pregame on the hill is mostly done where you need to be around each other all the time, right? It's not really good doing it like we're doing it now. So it just kind of ceased from there. But it was a great time. It was a therapy session, definitely for me. And it was a good time to talk to my boys once a week. And I like how the podcast scene has gone now. I enjoy GQ and Book. They have their own podcast, so that's love. And, I'll stop there and see if Njegan or GQ had any other input.
Njegan, man, go ahead, man.
Yeah.
Talk your shit.
Yeah, man. It's crazy he said that, and it's also crazy how fast our chemistry went. Like, obviously, me and Obi known each other for a while. I met Shane doing the podcast, and we had great chemistry even then. Like, I knew when to come in and let Shane, kind of be himself, and let Obi kind of come in and come out. So it was, Obi obviously did a great job at talent recruitment. It's just funny now hearing all the people. It's like, yeah, I want to do a podcast. We call them up. Freeze. So it's just crazy. Like, yeah, right. Call them. But not even just you. A lot of women, they ain't like what we were saying. So they would hear what we said and they'd be like, oh, wait till I get on there. We tried to have the guys versus girls pods.
It's also funny. Yeah. Like, we know how many people have started podcasts, and it's kind of we started that podcast, man. A lot of podcasters from Howard County have been started up. And I was like, 2016, we was probably like only one. We didn't know how to make it a podcast like people do now. We didn't have any Instagram. It was really just word of mouth for us. We had an Instagram, but we didn't really pay too much attention to it and shit. But it was just love, man. Like, again, GQ was the comedic relief who also had good points here and there. Here and there. Don was like the truth teller, where he just come in and just strike a match to whatever conversation we're talking about and bring his point to it. And me, I was just like the mediator, man. I'll bring him some topics and try to control the narrative as best as we could. But again, it was just a great sanction for us guys to kind of talk and give our insight to relationships. Definitely, my relationship was a topic on there a couple times, so it was good therapy for me. Men and women, how we interact with the other side, but it was love, man. We invited anybody to come up there too, so it was great to just get people and gather around. But
free smoke.
Enough of that, man. We here for y'all.
GQ, man. But listen though, you hear this, right? You see how Obi set it up in the beginning, right? He was like, listen, we were just trying to get the guy's perspective. That single life. See how we crossed to the other side. This is the sequel to what he was talking about right now. You feel me?
Nah, facts.
Because we literally took the blueprint for Pregame on the Hill. We brought it over here to Diaper Dash Podcast. So we definitely commend you, all three of you. Because I tried one episode. I was like, my name's Bug. That was miserable. I was terrible. I never thought this day I'd be here. But
this is like definitely the step after the next. I feel like You feel me? Y'all just flowed into this baby step. I feel like there was another form of a podcast before this podcast. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
where we're like
100%.
Like mixed drinks and shit, more a little classy, and then the baby. But I'm
God. Yeah, no, we had to listen. Me and GQ been talking about this shit for some seasons now. I'm like, we gotta get him on. We gotta get him on. We gotta get him on. We finally got you guys on. We happy. We're definitely excited for the great discussion we're gonna have tonight. Before we get into anything else, GQ, before we say anything else, listen to all of our listeners. I know it's motherfucking flu season, COVID going off the fucking chain. RSV, all that shit is going rampant right now. If you never heard of this, please do now. Shane, Zarbee's cough syrup. I texted this shit to Shane a couple weeks ago. I told him this shit works like magic. You know, when you got little toddlers and shit like that, you can't give them any type of decongestants, all that shit like that. Zarbee's cough syrup will definitely help that. It's basically honey, a dark honey, ivy leaf extract. I give this to the twins whenever I hear a cough going on, so not only they can sleep, but my ass needs some sleep as well. So if you need this, by all means, go pick up some Zarbee's. It works like a charm. Trust me, I'm telling you right now.
This is probably find that, yo. This free promotion you got.
I'm about to say, y'all got promo? What?
Little baby steps. Listen, we're getting to where we need to go. All right, listen, this is part of the step to get to where we need to go. But I'm gonna endorse it because my fucking kids use it every other day.
Let me find out Bug on his Beyonce taking side deals, cutting GQ out the deal.
Would never cut GQ out the deal. But I'm telling you right now, my kids have been on this shit since August. We are now in December. They've been sick every week since they've been going to school. By all means, pick you up some Zarbee's. First of all, I would never cut GQ out of the deal. He already know this is 50-50. We run this.
That's what Joe Budden said too.
Yeah, that's Joe Budden though. We did it a little different over here.
Hold on. You said that your kids been sick ever since they've been taking that?
Yeah, I see. Look, yeah. All right, bro. I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. Everyone in this house is sick every other week, bro. I shit you not. I'm the only one. It's normal for kids because when they first send them off daycare, they come back with all types of germs and shit. They usually get sick. But yo, these two have been sick literally since August. I can't explain it.
Is that something lost? Is it actually helping?
Zarbee's helps if they got a little cough. You know what I mean? Little inflammation in the chest, little mucus. You feel me? Little dumb it down. Yeah, you get they sleep. But you also get some sleep because ain't no worse than you not sleeping and the whole house will upside down. Okay, but y'all understand that when you get to that point.
We get there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when you get there. But go ahead, GQ. What we got going on tonight?
Well, thank you for the marketing. You know, like Obi said, first we were taking shots. Now it's the espresso martini. We have evolved, as the GOAT has said, and I've had quoted him many times before. But, man, I'm here just because I really want to, me and Boog, we talk to a lot of parents, right? And it's crazy because I was just thinking about it earlier. A lot of the people that I know, they either have kids or they married, right? And, for you guys, it's perfect because y'all don't have kids and y'all not married. You know what I mean? So for this episode, I really want to just tune in to just give obviously individuals that do listen to the podcast that aren't parents, that aren't married, just that perspective of what actually men are thinking, at an experienced age. And I love this age for us because we're not young to where we are chasing something that, we thought was, materialistic or thinking about women that have certain features to them. I feel like we're at a mature level where we're experienced. We know what's going on. We know what we want. We know the pros. We know the cons. So one of the things I wanted to jump in and I just wanted to see, because you guys had so many similar friends as me too, what are some of the pros and cons y'all have heard about being a dad? I want to hear some of it.
Njegan, you want to hit that?
Look. Hey, GQ, see all this shit now. Look, niggas wasn't this nervous when they was on pregame on the hill. Now we got on Mamar's side.
It's not a nervous thing. It's more of a thought process thing because there's especially two dynamics of how GQ you live your father life and how Boog lives his father life. You feel me?
Yeah, but don't even think about that. Just think about all collectively, like all your friends.
I know,
right?
and I am like y'all my friends. So collectively, y'all come into this discussion how I think about it, right? Because like on one side, I see GQ. He be at the gym every Saturday. He be at the gym every day. He still hoops at the time schedule. I felt like he hooped before he had a kid, you know. And then for Boog, like you were more so when we were in San Diego and you had your kids, you were more inside, kind of locked down, lock and key in that house. Mind you did have twins compared to his one, right? So when I'm thinking about pros and cons, I'm trying to weigh that with fluidity of kind of both. So that's why I told Njegan if you wanted to take that first, if you had anything in
pros. I've definitely heard people say that kids have given them a sense of like purpose. Like, you know, they definitely grinded harder. They was like, nah, I thought I was working hard before, but now that I got a kid, I'm working crazy. Definitely sense of like fulfillment. Cons is definitely, for some people, their energy level is not the same. Availability. It's not like I can just be like, hey, let's go watch the game. Do I got a sitter? Is my wife going? You got to alternate between the wife, what you going to do. And you know, it really, for a lot of people, exposes a lot of things too. Like, is your communication is up to par? Because if you lack communication skills, having a baby mom or girlfriend or any woman who's having your child is going to reveal that real quick. So that's some of the things I've seen so far.
Okay.
Yeah. He's
I think the biggest thing for me, right? And I'm gonna just give y'all an example because I think the biggest thing for me was I was texting my boy Chuck. Obviously, he got 3 kids, right? And it was a Saturday. He was calling me, and I was sleeping. I was on that. I was taking a nap middle of the day. He texted me, he's like, man, you living a life. You living a life right now. You don't know how good you got. You get to sleep right down in midday at 2 p.m. and just wake up. And I was like, I will miss that. I think that's definitely a con for me, just having that time. Because we had played basketball a GQ Saturday morning. I was like, I'm going to come back and take a nap. So that availability or that peaceful time to yourself, I think that definitely dissipates when you have a kid in the early stages of having a kid. And I think I think that's more of a con for me just because I like my time and be able to do what I want with my time. So that's definitely a con for me. A big one. And then another con would be, I had just thought about this in my mind. I just had this in my mind. I'm forgetting it though. So, because another con for me, obviously time, but then another con for me is like the core values that I guess you and your wife or whoever you and your partner should know that going in, but it could change, whatever, just because women and men, the conversation you have sometimes is unpredictable, and a kid might be doing something where you guys never even thought of that being a thing that you would disagree on. But you end up disagreeing on it, right?
Yeah.
And that could be a big core value that you, as a husband or dad, want to instill in your kid, but maybe your wife, your significant other, does not. So I don't know if that's a con or a pro, but I just know that's a fearful conversation that's probably going to happen in the future, and it can go either way of how you yourself want your kid to be raised.
Bro, believe it or not, that shit happens all the time. So it's like not even like when it comes to the differences, because we've all been raised different, right? This is 4 men in a room. We've all had different upbringings. Mm-hmm. But you learn quickly that, like, well, not necessarily quickly. You learn how to navigate through those tough conversations. As long as you're available to have those tough conversations and wanting to explain yourself and how you think, it makes it a little bit easier. So I wouldn't necessarily, like you said, it's not really necessarily a pro or a con. It's just more of a, like, it's like a means to an end. You know what I mean? Like, it's just something, it's kind of more so like a pro than it is a con. Yeah, the con is that you guys are sitting there bickering at each other, right? Like, me and actually bicker all the time about the way we were brought up and how we want to raise our kids. Like, oh, you need to put that boy down. Like, you need to let him, he fell, he's fine, he's not, you know what I mean? Like those type of conversations. But also on the back end, it's a pro because like you grow, you know what I mean? As long as you guys get from a means to an end versus attacking each other, then those conversations become easier. My bad, Chico. I didn't want to cut you off.
No. I was going to say, we all hear different things, right? We all hear pros, we all hear cons. But I think the one word that I think is left out a lot is just an adjustment, right? I think that's the biggest thing between a pro and a con. Some people looking at as they look at it as a pro, or they might look at it as a con, but it really just comes down to adjustment. Like, for example, I still get to take naps, but I take naps when Nova and Jasmine are taking naps. You know what I mean? Or like, I still get to go to the gym, but I might go to the gym early in the morning when I know they're sleeping. You know what I mean? Or like, for example, you said the communication part, Njegan, like, it might be a con for some people, but for me, I look at it as a pro because it's forcing me to adjust myself to be uncomfortable in certain situations. You know what I mean? So I really just take everything and just say, fuck it, man, I'm going to be a better person. You know what I mean? I be hearing what people be saying, like, yo, it's a pro and there's a con, but I really just be listening to people that really just tell me about like how to adjust to life. And one of the biggest things one guy told me, he was like, you played basketball in high school, right? And I was like, yeah. He was like, yo, that shit took up some time. And I was like, yeah. He was like, but you find ways to do some shit, right? And I was like, yeah. He was like, yo. He was like, you play basketball in college too, right? And I was like, yeah. He was like, that shit took up more time. And I was like, yeah. He was like, but you find time to do other shit, right? And he was like, yo, you got a kid now. I was like, yeah. He was like, yo. He was like, no matter what happens in life, he's like, yo, you're going to find a way to make time for it. He was like, you just got to make it though. It's going to be times where that shit might run down to the last fucking second. But he was like, yo, you got to use that shit, man. He was like, don't worry about things coming in your life. He was like, you always going to make adjustments to do it. And he was like, as a person that plays sports, he was like, yo, you always going to find that adjustment because you've been doing that your whole life. So I just be really just listening to stuff like that and just take it and just kind of like apply it to like what's going on with me. Cause like right now, like I told Boog, I be telling a lot of people, I don't know if I've ever been this scared in my life to where like I'm scared for the baby to come just because I know like a real adjustment's about to happen.
Yeah.
Like, and don't.
That's what I was about to ask. Because when you're speaking about the sports thing, the adjustment is really still about you. This is
correct
that you're making is about another person that then takes more priority and precedent over you.
Correct.
Basketball, the adjustment was about you, and at that point in your life, you are the number one priority in your life. Now, that's where the fear comes in, because now this adjustment that you're about to take on, and you've already taken on, is with a whole different view. It has to be first, right?
Yes.
These adjustments, they cause divorces, man. I don't want to have
but listen,
Nah, they do.
They do, but
man, and
but you gotta also gotta look at it from this standpoint. Like, this is coming from a guy I was thrown into the wildfire quick, right? I fucked around and had 2 kids at once. But that fear that you have is almost like a good thing. So it makes the adjustment for yourself easier because you're already, you know what I mean? You already know the stigmas when it comes to being a father, let alone being an African-American father in this world, right? Like, you always want to be there for your kids. You always want to make sure you do right by your kids and grow from there on, right? So that the fear, quite frankly, takes care of itself. The adjustment comes as like, damn, like there was times where I was trying to be a 50-50 dad. Like, mind you, I was 20. I just turned 26. Right? No, I was 20. Whoa, relax. You're doing a lot over there. Relax. I was 26. I was 25, 26 when the twins were born. And I was trying to live that life where I could be like a partier and I could be a dad. Nah. But I always knew that my kids were going to be taken care of, right? And then one day I just snapped out of it and it was just like, yo, you can't be Boog from Fed Hill around the block. You get me? Like you got to be a dad first, take care of your priorities and figure out your way around. So meaning that like the fear in me to let my kids down made sure that my kids was taken care of. The adjustment to like how I navigate about going out. Maybe I don't hang out with the bros every Friday. Now it's like I see them like every couple of weeks, or I play basketball here, play basketball there. That's the adjustment that you really necessarily have to worry about. It's not necessarily the adjustment of like fearful of another life, because that is scary. It's scary as shit to think about. Like, yo, you're responsible for another human being for as long as you live. But the fear in you takes care of you providing for your kids. You just,
but you gotta be very careful, because you guys are both speaking from a situation where you guys are in a situation where you guys are still with the people that you had the babies with, and things are going good. That's not always.
But you guys,
that's not always the situation.
It's not. But you gotta understand, you're talking to somebody here who met somebody in Vegas, got her pregnant 3 weeks after moving in, and I'm still with her.
Right. What are the chances of that, though?
Not at very less than 1%.
So this fear that you have, how long does it last? 18 years, the rest of your life?
I mean, it's not necessarily a fear that lasts forever, because after a while you kind of get a grip on some things. You're never going to get a full grip on this shit, because every day there's something new. Like the way I raise my kids now at 3, I was never raising them at 1. So I can't imagine what it's like from 3 to 10, and 10 to 18, and 18 to 28, and then they're on. So it's always going to be a fear. When my kids start driving, I'm going to lose my fucking mind, but I'm not going to let them know that. You know what I mean? Like you're always going to have that fear, but just to make sure that they are always taken care of kind of like eases that tension within yourself.
So the fear I have is selfishness for myself, right? So I'm not talking about fear of letting them do what they want to do, or this, that, and the third. I think, and a lot of people might have this, but I've been myself all my life, right? I sacrificed to have a kid with someone, right? Now I'm about to sacrifice to have another kid. Now I'm slowly giving myself up, right? So that fear and my fear is the fear of time, right? To me, time is the biggest thing. Like, you know what I mean? That's something I value a lot, because shit, I really only sleep when it's time to sleep. Other than that, I'm ripping and running. I'm doing everything I can just to live this life. Someone asked me the other day, like, yo, bro, see you at the gym? See you coach? See you, motherfucker, you go to work? You be with the fam? It's like, my nigga, do you ever have time to sleep? I say, yeah, man, I do. I sleep standing up. You feel me? And on top of that, I get a chance to live my regular life. You know what I mean? But, yo, when you get that second child, it's like now you have to really, it's like, yo, one child, you could just leave with one of the parents. But now it's like, yo, I got 2 today. You might want to take one. You know what I mean? So I think that. I don't know what you mean, yo.
Hey, you know what's crazy? As the homie with kids, I don't know what the fuck he talking about, because I ain't never been able to do that. So
what?
Just I got so many different experiences. How I see.
Hold on. Do what?
Go ahead.
I'm just gonna go hoop tonight. I'll be back. Nah, there's no I won't be back.
Oh no, I've been doing that. That's not gonna change.
That's what he thinks.
That's his piece, though.
That's what
I'm saying.
No, right. I think that's something that people need to understand too. A lot of it has to do with your spouse understanding you, right? And I think that's a lot of conflict with a lot of people, because I even sent a clip to Lawrence about Michelle Obama, right? Michelle Obama was just saying like, yo, when they got the kids, that's when niggas started clocking each other. You feel me? Like, when it was no kids, she like, yo, all right, yo, see you later, bye, blah, 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 you going out, all right. And then she was like, yo, once niggas got the kids, niggas start clocking it. Yo, you went to the gym for 2 hours, where you was at? Oh, yo, where you going? This, and the third. That's how it goes, you know what I mean? So I think a lot of that, and I think that happens normally for a lot of people, because some people don't want to be stuck doing doing, like having that responsibility, right? But like I said before, I think that experience, right? When you get to a certain age and you know the things that you like, that's a conversation you might have with someone. That's why I think for you guys, I think, y'all get so much knowledge that I'm like, damn, these niggas is really, if these niggas don't make the right choice, I don't know what the fuck's gonna happen.
Pressure though. That's the pressure though, because we know so much knowledge now. Like we get
don't let the experiences that you hear from me, Shane, or anybody else that you know about raising kids spook you, because at the end of the day, I say this all the time. You are your own. You write your own story. There's not a book in the fucking world that could teach you how to be a parent. All it is hearsay.
I don't think it's a spook thing. But like, say you date a girl, right? And she's also a girl that likes to go out too, right? It has to be a balance if you are a person that likes to go out. I don't think it's a spook thing. I think it's just understanding what's gonna make you happy in life, right? Because if you get into a situation and you're not happy, it's just you forcing stuff now. So I think just hearing what other people say, that will give you the knowledge to be like, let me see if this person's on the same page as me.
So along those same lines of fear, when y'all was having kids, I know there's a fear of having a child and how you're gonna take care of them, all that stuff. Did you guys have a fear of how it was gonna change your spouse?
I never had fear though.
Maybe not fears, but maybe concerns.
The dynamic of your relationship in regards to and I know you. You go ahead.
I never saw it coming, bro. Never. I was talking to my brother-in-law. I'm like, my nigga, I should slap you right now because I've been around you multiple times. You tell me some of the stuff that's going on. He was just laughing, but that's what I'm trying to say. A lot of people, they don't be telling the honest truth about things. And I be telling people the bold, honest truth. Like my cousin, she had came over 2 years ago. Me and Jasmine was sitting down. I was just telling her because she was with her boyfriend. I was just like, I understand why some people aren't with their spouse when they get kids. Jasmine was just like, she was agreeing with me because when you get kids, and things aren't meshing and you're at a point where y'all not married, y'all just having a fling, this, that, and the third, it's easy for people to be like, you know what? I'm not going to deal with this shit. I'm not going to deal with that shit because it really can change the dynamic of your time, your effort, your communication. Now niggas start feeling like, they ain't being heard. Their emotions are being played with. And now it's like, I'm not going to deal with this. I'd rather just co-parent. You know what I mean? Because it's not going to work. But growing up, I never heard no one say that shit. I always hear people say, do it for the kids.
Yeah, but the thing about that, that's true. I mean, you got.
But we're living in a different generation too.
And that was my next point. That was my next point right there. Everything is starting to evolve.
I was telling my boss, same thing I was telling Jasmine when I first met her. Jasmine was staying with me. I was like, I would never marry you until you live with me. That's a fact, right? And I was telling my boss the same thing too. She was like, nah, y'all got to get married and then y'all live with each other. I was like, nah, that's y'all generation. I know what I want in my life. And I feel like you marrying someone and then trying to figure out what type of person they are and how they live, that's forcement. I'm not going to put myself in that position because now I done waste money on a wedding, right? And two, I'm forcing myself to love somebody just because of old traditions.
Exactly. And that's where it comes in now is that the day and age of parenthood is completely different, right? Like GQ was saying, do it for the kids. We're not doing it. We're doing it for the kids. Obviously we're there physically, emotionally, you know what I mean? We're present and all that shit, but that's not the end all be all. Some people stay together because they have kids.
So
that's
for y'all,
just the way some parents are.
I'm gonna let you finish, but what I was gonna say for y'all, are there certain things that you guys do as parents that you're like, damn, I'm just like my dad? And then what are some things that you guys do that are different from what your parents do?
So It's a little.
God,
It's little. It's a little different for me because like I'm really literally learning on a whim, right? Like my pops was present, but he wasn't present. If that makes sense. Physically, he was there. Emotionally, if like navigating through fatherhood, no. It was like my mom was that person. So I never really understood what it felt like to be a man and like what it's like to take care of priorities. A lot of times I walk around here, I think I'm doing something right, but I could be wrong. You know what I mean? Sometimes like my fiance used to get mad at me, but I'm like, yo, bro, I literally don't know how to live this life. I'm figuring this shit out. I didn't grow up with the American dream, the 2 parents, multiple kids, white picket fence life. I didn't grow up in that. I grew up with a single mother who worked in the military, and she did the best she could with me and my sister, and that's just the way it was. You know what I mean? So this has been like kind of, it's just every day I take everything, as long as I'm being true to myself and open of like, every day is a new lesson. Just figure it out. You know what I mean? Like a lot of this parenthood shit is just figuring it out. Hey, if they don't like it, they'll let you know. If they cry, fuck, I guess I won't do that again. You know what I mean? It ain't going to make them stop not love. It's not going to make them not love you any more than they did the day before. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, I literally just walk around here and just try to figure it out.
Y'all in like the early stages though of parenting right now, like very.
But that's literally is like this is where you really find out. When shit's running high and you got 2 people standing in front of you who can't speak English, who can't talk, you know what I mean? Can't speak English to you and tell you what's wrong. And then you got a partner you got a partner, yeah, because that's why, yeah, they do as the kids. I can't speak on that because I'm not there, but what I can tell you right now is like, you ain't seen shit unless you've been in a situation where, like I said, you got 2 kids you got a kid that can't speak to you. They're just crying. You got to figure out what's going on with them. And you got a partner who's stressing out. And then everybody's just in a big disarray and you got to figure out, you just got to navigate emotions. As a man, it's tricky for us because as much as we don't realize it, we kind of, not necessarily control, but I'll say we manage everyone else's emotions in the house. Like I manage my emotions. When my emotions get high, Ashley's emotions get high. When the kids' emotions get high, I got to make sure they're cool. You know what I mean? Like we play the quarterback position more than we think. It's not just necessarily of, oh, well, I'm just here and you know what I mean? I'm figuring it out. But you kind of just navigate through everybody's emotions. So once you get that mind frame, then you kind of understand.
So you're saying, I guess something you're doing different is you're more present than what your father was. But is there anything that you do that you're like, damn, I'm just like my dad right now. I'm doing the same thing my dad doing right now, or it's nothing?
I try so hard not to go that route as much as it's crazy because I literally I know what not I know what's I mean, quite frankly, like. By what I'm doing now, I know that I feel like I'm doing better. So, like, I just look at it from that perspective and not necessarily, oh, well, my dad never did this, so I'm going to do that. You know what I mean? I always look at it just, how can I get myself better than I were the day before?
So what are you doing that's not so-called? Because every time I listen to y'all, it feels like I'm trying to tell me that, and you're not saying it indirectly, like the gifts to maybe doing perfect parenting, which is no such thing. What are you doing that's not so perfect that y'all wouldn't work on?
There's always something. That's a good question because there's always something to work on. Me is more so of how to. It never really goes back to the kids. It always comes back to myself. Of like, just for instance, like my communication style. It changes. Like it's not necessarily like you don't really get too high flared around this motherfucker because there's kids in the room that are listening now. Your dialect changes. Your conversations with your spouse when you're not feeling something changes. It doesn't go like, no, I'm not fucking with that. It's more so of just like you learn how to talk differently in a lower tone, I guess, necessarily. I don't know.
Your total inflection has to change with something that you're working on, right? Where you know
exactly.
Soothing, you can say something angrily in a soothing way, right, to get your point across.
Exactly. And it's not necessarily that you're yelling or anything like that. You're just passionate about what you do. Like Ashley's quick to tell you. Ashley always thinks, anytime me and Ashley get in a little feud, she always thinks I'm yelling at her. Like, no, I'm not yelling at you. I'm just passionate about what I do. You know what I mean? If I wasn't passionate, no, real shit. Y'all, it's real shit. Cause if I wasn't passionate in what I was doing, then it would be a fucking problem around here. You know what I mean? Like, if I wasn't passionate enough to be, number one, a lover to you, number two, a father to my kids, and number three, the kind of like the glue that keeps everybody maneuvering through the house, then you know what I mean? That if I wasn't passionate about that, then
what about you, GQ? Is there anything that's like you be doing?
Yeah, man, you just keep making.
Is there anything?
Yeah, let's go to GQ because
Nah, I thought, I'm gonna answer all the questions. I was just waiting.
No, I'm just saying, Boog just sparked another question I had that I wanted to speak to that she probably has spoken about before, but we need to go more in depth. But GQ, answer Njegan's questions first, please.
I think, so like my dad, man, it's funny, man. He an international cat, man. So like my dad, he lived in Jamaica for like 11 years, until he moved up here, until he got citizenship. But I would always see him. I always go down to Jamaica. But I feel like one thing that I see myself doing that he does is he always made time for himself, right? Like for example, like if he needed to take a nap, he just take a nap. If that nigga needed to go out, he would go out. Like if that nigga needed to do things for himself, he would do those things for himself, right? And I get it, right? And that, when you young, man, you think you get it, but you don't. My mom used to always say that. She'd be like, yo, Shane, when you get older, you'll get it, right? And I get it because, like, if you look at it from a mental standpoint, he did those things because it just keeps him mental, man. You know what I mean? And that's just my philosophy behind things. He did it because, fuck it. I've been working fucking 7 days straight. I might want to just go out tonight. I'm gonna go out. You know what I mean? I'm tired. I just want to take a nap. But like, if you look at it from certain people's viewpoints, they might be like, yo, he doing this, he doing that. But you don't know what that man's going through. You know what I mean? You don't know what him and my mom's going through. Like, I don't know. Like, they could have been going through some stuff that made him tired, made him drained, made him mental, made him crazy. That he like, yo, I got to make some time for myself. So I definitely see that in myself because I do the same thing too. I think I can get away with it a little bit more because I work from home. So that's kind of always my excuse. Like, yo, I'm home all day. I just was in a pandemic, but that pandemic excuse wearing off a little bit. But I think that's definitely something I see similar. Like, yo, if I want to do something, I'm gonna do it. And I'm really thankful for Jasmine because she gets it. Like, she always be like, Shane, like, that's just him. Like, I don't do anything else. I'm not a gambler. I'm not a big drinker. I'm not a smoker. I might buy shoes, but I don't do outrageous stuff for my money or disrespect her. So like me just wanting to go to the gym for 3 hours or me wanting to go on a guy's trip. Yeah.
3 hours is crazy. That is
my man on
that shit is shot.
Yo. But just think about it. See, hold on. Just think about it. If I go to 3 hours when they sleeping, what the fuck does that do to anyone? Huh? Right?
So like 3 hours. I was like, not a lot of niggas in the gym for 3 hours.
You right. Man, hey, but a lot of niggas is not me. and plus on top of it, I begin to the gym at 7:30 in the morning, my G. Right? If I come home at 10:30, they get up at 8:30. 2 hours? What is that going to do? And I'm there the whole Saturday? That's how I look at it. You know what I mean? Like 2 hours just to work out. That's just nothing. I could be doing. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, I gotta go ahead. Finish up.
I could be fucking gambling, doing some other shit. I'm just at the gym. That's it.
So how do you plan on so in the event? I don't know. Listen, your dynamic is different, right? So like your dynamic is different from my dynamic. In the event that shit changes, how do you know how you all plan to adjust? essentially.
If that shit changes, that shit wouldn't just change. That shit would be a conversation, right?
So, but what I'm saying is, when you get in those situations, right? Because now, quite frankly, you got it harder than I did, because I ain't doing this shit again. You have it harder than I did. Like, you got a 3-year-old, and then you're bringing a newborn into this world, right? Me, it was a little different for me, because I had 2. They were all the same age. Like, quite frankly, they do the same shit for the most part, and activities and all that shit. We kind of figured out. How do you plan on adjusting then when it comes to those times where you're raising a toddler and raising a newborn? Because that's that's very difficult.
I can't tell you that'll happen when the baby comes, right? And that's just going off of what you just said earlier. It'll figure out himself, right? I can't tell you, I can't visualize it, right? Because the same thing, like when Nova came, I'm like, dang, I ain't gonna get to go to the gym, but I'm living my best life, right? And I ain't missing a beat. You know what I mean? So like, it just works out for itself. Like, just like how you said, like, at one point, I was so used to going to the gym at night that Jasmine, because I would always ask Jasmine, like, every 3 months, what can I do better as a dad? What can I do better? Like, always. Sometimes she say nothing. And at one time she was just like, yo, you know what? I would like you to like start like taking over the bed. And I was like, all right, bet. Start going to the gym in the afternoon. So it just kind of works out for me. You know what I mean? Like, instead of making that instead of complaining, I was just like, you know what? Instead of going to the gym when everyone's hooping, I got to find a way to get myself right mentally and just get what fulfills me. So I just started going in the middle of the day. You know what I mean? That way I got my work in, and then I can also put Nova to bed at night if needed.
But there's always those times though where we are, when we're up against, it's a lot of times it's not just going to work itself out. Like, we got to really like get into it and figure it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I did. But why can it never really work out, right? Because I made it work out. There hasn't been a.
If I'm doing it too forward, let me know. Because your parents are separated together still. Your parents, GQ.
Who, mine?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're together.
They're together. For some reason, I thought they were separated.
Yeah, they're together. Okay. But I think, like I said before, I think a lot has to do with it with your partner, right? I think Jasmine understands where I come from. She understands what makes me happy, and she's willing to allow that, right? The same way if I understand, that's why I always be telling her, you got to do what makes you happy, and whatever makes you happy, we going to work to get it right, right? For her, it's going home to Virginia, right? And at one point I was like, yo, I can't make every single birthday party, everything, graduation. I'm just not going to Virginia every time. But it came to a point where I was just like, yo, if you want to go, you can go, because that gives you fulfillment. It makes you around your family. And that's just something that, you know, we work out. So like, yo, if you want to do that and makes you happy, you do it. The times that you really want me to go, let me know. I'm going to get in that car and we going to go. But I think a lot of it just has to do with your partner, communication, and also like, I want to say patience, but I'm going to say what you can tolerate. Right. And I think that's really, really big in a relationship. The reason why I didn't say patience is because patience is something that you are somewhat allowing because you know there will be change. Right. Tolerant is like, you just know that shit's not going to change. You just know, like, this is what it is. Right. So that's why I say it's just certain things that you can tolerate with someone. Like, you know that certain people, they do certain things, like it might not change them. You just tolerate that shit. So I say communication, your partner, and what you can tolerate. And then that's what I see go ahead. Oh, I was going to answer the second part. You said something that I do differently with my dad. I think another thing I do differently is just, another thing is like, it just comes back to time. I think because like, I'm really blessed that I get to work from home. I get to do a lot of things with Nova. You know what I mean? Like my dad, who worked all the time. You know what I mean? Obviously, you're always off on that Saturday and Sunday. but because I get to work from home every Friday, I'm with Nova. You know, every Saturday we go to gymnastics or we go to soccer, or every Sunday I don't go to the gym, so I'm here every Sunday. You know what I mean? So I think like just coming back to me, just having the time and the flexibility to be with her more, I think that's something differently than I think my pops did. And
I think
then
we had a question for you too.
Question about, I think you guys drawn about it. Do you feel like you do imperfect that you want to get better?
what? It's the time, man. It's the time.
I think
Like,
you were going to answer that because you've been saying time the whole goddamn episode. So,
yo, that's
Okay, I do a follow up to that. Like when you guys have a question about something, you feel like I don't know what to do next. What type of resource or who do you guys reach out to get answers to questions?
I gamble on myself. I call God. No, I'm fucking with you. But like, I'm always me. I don't necessarily. I don't really call on anybody. I just kind of just. I mean, of course you got your parents and shit like that, but there's also things where it's like, it's also situations where it's like, yo, what if I don't like my parents' answer, right? What if your parents give you a different response, like a response to something like how you were raised that you didn't really necessarily like about your childhood? You just fill it out. You learn every day. I look at it as every day is a learning experience right now. You know what I mean?
Young nucleus of fathers y'all bringing on here, but y'all don't reach out to call them to see if you have a question about something. Isn't that what
I mean?
Man, makes a point.
Yeah, he does make a point. He does make a point, but
especially as a black man, you don't got to do everything you goddamn
no, but the thing is this. No, this is the thing. This is where I think this is the point that we're missing, is that this platform is for men to understand that they aren't alone. Necessarily not. I mean, yeah, we could give out advice, but every father's story is different, right? There's a thing with men is that we don't like to talk about our emotions. This platform is to make it okay and make it relatable to like, hey, I may not be going through what the fuck he's going through, but I went through some other fucked up shit the other day that like sounds it's like on that level, but you know what I mean? It just gets better, and you know what I mean? There's a way around it and navigate through it. Yeah, I mean, I call on Shane more than I call anybody else. The best, huh?
I was gonna say, I'm happy you do, but I think the thing that we also get wrong with advice is, yes, I might call on GQ, Njegan, you for advice. I am not obligated to take your advice, but having that different perspective on how a situation is can benefit me of saying to go in that direction, going another direction. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You might not like the advice, which is fine. You don't have to agree on everything. I think everybody thinks we have to agree on everything nowadays. It's a stupid way to look at things. You have different perspectives that you could bring in. Now you can maybe take a little bit what he said, combine a little bit what you do, and then you get the situation, or you just don't take it at all. But I feel like it doesn't hurt to ask somebody.
Oh yeah, it doesn't hurt to ask somebody, but that's what I'm saying. Like I rather, because it's hard, because like you can reach out to certain people that, I mean, me personally, I like to talk to people who are in the fucking bullshit with me, right? Like necessarily, like Shane, our kids are not even a month apart, right? So like there's certain shit that I've gone through. Shane could attest to this. Back when the twins wouldn't sleep, Shane's like, yo, 6 months it gets better. Man, 6 months hit, that shit wouldn't get any different than it was at 3 months. He's like, all right, 9 months it'll get better. 9 months was no different from the second month. You know what I mean? Knowing that there was somebody there that was there, and like you said, with the different perspective, like I can't really, I mean, I could take advice from Shane, but it's more, it's not necessarily advice, it's more so of upliftment and like, yo, you can do better. I may not know what you're going through, but like, listen, you can keep pushing, you can keep moving, you can keep improving yourself to do better than what you're doing.
And it's not even necessarily like what Obi said, like whether or not you take the advice, just whether or not you have a resource where, oh, something happened. Who am I calling? Am I calling my dad, or is it Shane that I'm calling? That's more what the question was.
Like it.
So I think
once.
Go ahead.
I use the gym, man.
You get the advice from the gym.
I might be hooping at the gym.
Yo.
Nah, I do. And yo, Lawrence, no. Yo, I might be at the gym, like, cause like even just to talk real quick, like Jasmine would be like, yeah, you know, she be talking to her friends, like, yeah, Shane be going to the gym for like 3 hours. But then like when we be in the crib just talking, they understand it before they leave. Because I be telling them like, yo, I might go to the gym, hoop. I was really nothing to hoop. I was very slim, right? So say for example, I hoop for an hour, I lift, I shower, 30 minutes, I really just be talking to niggas. Like really. Like not even on no like joking shit. I really be talking to OGs. Ask Lawrence. I'll text this nigga 7 in the morning, but I just talked to this nigga, this OG. He told me some wild shit. But I necessarily don't talk to people that are probably the same level as me or maybe as fresh as me in the parent stage. I really be just talking to older people that probably have the more experience than me, right? Like Banye, right? I talked to Banye. I was like, yeah, man, having another baby, I'm a little scared. He told me, he's like, yo, bro. He was like, yo, he was like 3 to 7 years. He was like, yo, it's going to be tough on your marriage. It's going to be tough on yourself. He was like, because you're going to sacrifice so much. And he's like, yo, like, y'all going to fall out of love. Y'all might not love each other. That's just stuff that happened. You know what I mean? And I can actually, like, for me, I can't necessarily ask or talk to Lawrence about that because he's still in the same stage as me, right? And like you said, I could talk to him and, you know, hear his advice, but sometimes I just really need advice. Sometimes I need to hear something bad or good just to, like, you know, calm myself sometimes. So a lot of times I be just talking to guys at the gym, you know what I mean? People that already had kids, people that got 3 kids. But a lot of times I be just talking to Banye. Like we met him on, y'all met Njegan, you met him on Friday because his kids are the same situation, right? He got a 4-year-old, he got a 7-year-old. So that's basically Journey and Nova Rose, you know, 3 years apart. So he's been married for 10 years. So he kind of know the ins and outs. But I talked to the old heads, but I also talked to Jasmine, man. That's another person I talked to. Just talk to her about different things that I be hearing and I come back to her. Like one time we were talking and, I remember this was in COVID, like when things was like really, really bumpy. She was reading some and she was like, I think it was like the same thing about like falling out of love. Like, yo, you know, you're going to fall in and out of love with someone, you know, a lot. You know what I mean? So like I talked to her about that and just talk to her about different things, man, that just be going on in my head because, like you said, as a black man, I can't keep everything to myself. And if I can't talk to my spouse about certain things, then damn, like, is this really a thing? You know what I mean? Huh?
You're right.
Get married.
Yeah.
Like, why do you get married?
Yeah. So like certain shit, man, I talk to OGs, but I also talk to Jasmine just so she can understand where I'm coming from. You know what I mean? Understand my emotions, understand my feelings. Because at the end of the day, we married, but it's like, it's a partnership, right? And one of the biggest things I learned, you know, that Jasmine learned too is, you know, so many people think, yeah, man, you love each other in a marriage, but you fall in and out of love, bro. You're going to have to grow to love each other again, do different things to love each other. And that's just how it goes. And it ain't for the weak. A lot of niggas, like you said, feel like,
this shit is not for the fucking weak, my boy. There's been times where I've been waking up. I'd be like, yo, can I do this shit again? Can I wake up tomorrow and be okay?
And I think about like Obi, your parents, my parents. Were them niggas happy a lot of times? Nah. Probably not. You know, I see a lot of times when my dad wasn't talking in the house.
Right.
But that's the thing.
Like, yo, he mean, but now you get it. You be like, yo, he mean.
So my dad used to go, yeah, now I get it. My dad used to, when he get back from his job, he'd go in a little compartment, swig a little shot of wine and shit. He never knew why he did that. Now I know.
But that's the thing. That's kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier in the episode. Like, yo, like if you you kind of you learn how to fight. Like when you get in arguments, you learn how to have arguments and shit like that. It's not necessarily attacking you and like emotionally attacking you. Like that is like when you kind of like, all right, we got to draw the line, we got to separate. But like if there's like if you really argued about some shit, like me ask you will argue about the littlest shit sometimes, but it's always to a mean to an end, right? Like we got the same goal in mind. It's just how do we get from point A to point B, and that's really where the shit lasts the longest to me.
So speaking of that,
quite frankly.
Go ahead. I had to pivot to another question. Speaking of your point A to point B conversation, like there's a lot of obstacles that come in the middle of that with raising your kids, right? And sometimes they're gonna have to be disciplined. And us growing up, we got disciplined probably a little different way than you probably gonna discipline your kids. So I wanted to talk about, and that's a really thing I've always tried to gauge with the young fathers that I know, like how, maybe you don't know, maybe you do know, how you will punish your kids, how you doing it now.
I mean, it comes down to conversation. Because, I mean, the way Ashley was raised.
Conversation to punish your kids or your conversation with your spouse?
It's with my spouse, not conversating with my kid. I don't conversate with my kids. They don't pay no bills around here. These lights, they don't pay for this shit. I do. I don't conversate with them. I don't. There's no. I'm not. No, I don't sound like my dad. My dad would never say some shit like this to me. This is my mom who would say. My mom said this to me. No, this is something that this is something that my mom would say to me, and it makes very valid sense. Like I'm just not here. I'm not here for that. There's a reason why I'm saying what I'm saying, right? Obviously, Ashley's upbringing was different than mine. You know what I mean? It comes down to communication with your partner. Like there was times where like Ashley would like snap on me because, you know what I mean, as growing up, we used to get spanked, beat, all type. I'm gonna say beat like we was getting abused, but we was borderline. Some shit that we was dealing with was completely different than how this new day and age of parenthood is. So look, and Shane already talked about how he was to be locked in the closet for 23-1. We already knew what he was talking about, but you know what I mean? There's a certain shit we wouldn't do. You ain't bring the switch.
Exactly.
But you know what I mean? Like I just learned that there's certain things that Ashley, there's certain bushes I'm not gonna push for Ashley. I know there's certain things she's not gonna tolerate when it comes to me disciplining the kids. So I wouldn't do anything that was ever done to me. But I mean, I think I disciplined them. I'd still put them in timeout and things of that nature. I won't put my hands on them. I'm just saying, what do you do? How's your timeout situation? Like, you just tell them to go to their room for like 5 to 10 minutes? Like, is it effective? Have you found something else a way to do? Well, these kids, timeout, they don't understand timeout. So like, I say timeout as an adult, meaning that you just go sit somewhere. But like, as a kid, like I explain it to them that it's just more so like a reset. You know what I mean? Like sometimes they get riled up, but they don't know how to handle their emotions. So I just send them to their room. Close that door, and they'll sit there. They'll cry themselves till they fucking turn red in the face. I know as long as they're not hurting themselves or anybody else around them, I'll go put them in the room and until they calm down, and then you come back out. I don't put a time on it. You just whenever you can really calm back down, and you're ready to come back and play. And please, by all means, do so.
Get the message.
Yeah. I mean, my son with Bo, he was speech delayed for a while, so his way of showing anger or his communication being mad was to be physical, meaning like throw stuff, bite people, hit people. You know what I mean? Like there's been times where I probably wanted to bite his ass back or hit him back, but I would never do that. You know what I mean? Because it's just at that age, there's times where you really like, fuck it, I will bite the fuck out you. But like, no, I had to, you know what I mean? You had to assess it a certain way. So like I would put him in his room. He would sit down and cry. He'll cry himself until he can't cry no more. But then when he's ready to come back out, he's a brand new kid. You know what I mean? He's ready to go back active and go play. So I think they got the message. It's also just a read and react. And at least on my side of things.
For me, I agree with Lawrence. You know, it's a difference. Like for me, I was always whooped, man. My mom used to tear my ass up. And for Jasmine, they never got beatings. So like, she always be like, well, every kid don't deserve a beating. And to me, I'm like, well, every kid not going to be good like you and your brothers. You know what I mean? There's going to be some motherfuckers that don't be listening, but I think we're still like bumping heads about that sometimes. Cause like, to me, I feel like, you know, a beating is good and Jasmine's like, no, like you shouldn't do that. Like they don't deserve it. But you know, they're only toddlers, man. They're not even kids. They're like toddlers. They're fucking babies. And I'm really thankful for Snapchat and my mother. And the reason I say that is because Snapchat, man, like, man, it gives you memories of the year, the day and the year of what happened like previously. And man, that shit, like every morning I get up, man, like I'd see a old one in Nova, man, you know, 1 year old, 6 months old. And I just be remembering me just being so hard on her, yo. And Jazz used to always tell me like, yo, she just a baby, bro. She a baby. And that should be softening me up every fucking day, bro. Like, especially like Fridays when I'm home with her, like I'll say something, she'll like get real sad, but she understands it, and that like just softens me up. And then my mom, you know, my mom always be telling me, man, like, yo, Shane, yo, you gotta let her live, man. You gotta let her live. She just a girl, you know? So I think those two things, they be softening me up to, you know, not be so hard, but then just to realize, man, you know, they just toddlers, man. Sometimes they don't even get that shit, man. So being on them is sometimes useless, but I think it's just you having that conversation with them to make them understand, right? So like the peeing situation with Nova. One day I just randomly was like, yo, you about to be potty trained. Is no ifs, ands, or buts, shorty. You about to be potty trained. And like the first 3 hours, she peed on herself, right? And I just looked at her, and you know, she had peed like underneath the table. And I just looked at her, I was like, yo, shorty, like you can't be doing that shit, man. You cannot be doing that.
Yo, talking to her like I should
doing that. Like really just really talking to her like, I'm telling you, man, like you wanna be a big girl? You wanna be a big girl? She's like, yeah. I'm like, yo, listen, you gotta really, I know you can do this. I know you could do this because your name is Nova Rose, so you could do anything. And then like gradually, man, like time went by. Yes, she peed on herself, you know, once in a blue mood. But like, yo, from that day on, she got better every single week, yo. Every single week, man. But I think a lot of it has to do with just letting Jasmine not have the training wheels on her all the time. You know what I mean? Mothers always want to nurture and, no, like they all right now. Let them do this, blah blah blah.
Hearing this right, the punishment forms I'm hearing right now for these toddlers is, at one side on book side is discipline by timeout, traditional thing that we've all heard, and the timeout is not specific to time. And then GQ's disciplinary action is a pep talk with this child. Is that what I'm hearing? Right now, is your punishment tactics?
Yeah,
I mean, what else?
You don't work punishment anymore, so let me know.
No, it's literally, yo, this shit was different because like we had
but
a speech therapist.
They toddlers. That's what I'm saying, man.
Yeah,
like,
it's different. You can't really, you can't.
What, the toddlers don't do no wrong?
No, they do what. Listen.
Hold on. I'm about to explain something to you. They don't know wrong. They don't know death. They don't know what the end of life is. So they do things because they're kids. They toddlers. Like we don't do things, and when we get to a certain age, we don't do it because our brains has a concept of being like, yo, if we fucking do that, we might die. If we do that shit, we're gonna fuck the house up. They literally don't know that right now. That's why you continue to talk to them like, yo, listen, look at the house. Look at the house, my nigga. It's dirty. It's you got your stuff everywhere. Let's clean it up. We clean it up and we look around and like, look, we clean, yo. We got this. So that's why I like the pep talk to make them understand. Once they understand, once they get 4, now we can beat them. Now we can beat them, man.
But see, that's another thing is that like it's like different. GQ's right. Like they're. I look at my kids like a blank canvas, essentially, and I'm the artist, right? Like I pour my all into them to be something greater than, you know what I mean, than what they started, right? So like I make sure that I try to teach them all that I know. They don't really know shit. Like, yeah, it's. I've been times where like I've like really like came down on them, and I can see that they're genuinely hurt by it, and then I grow as a person for this reason alone. I grow because I grow in the sense of being a father that like maybe I don't need to come down so hard on them. Maybe I could take a different approach to it. You know what I mean? Maybe I could do things a little bit different here than I did there. Because there's been times like when I've like I can hear it in her. Sometimes I can hear it in her voice, and I even call my mom like, yeah, I was a little bit too hard on him. But she's always tell me just love him harder than you were when you were being hard on him. So I would always just try to make up for it. You know what I mean? It's a weird feeling because you're like, damn, I probably shouldn't have went that far, but like I always make it up for it on the back end.
I can't wait till 6 years from now when this dynamic of how y'all speaking, I don't know if it will change. It might, to where, because you will have to discipline your kids and at some point more than what you guys are doing now.
Yeah, of course.
But I'm asking too, and future forward, do you think that your form of disciplinary action or punishment, if you can even say that word anymore, will be way different? Not regards to kind of obviously your mom be putting hands on you, dad putting hands on you, in disciplinary action, but just way different down the line when they do kind of form thoughts where they know they're doing something wrong, but they don't give a fuck, and they keep going down that route. Will your
go ahead, GQ.
Disciplinary action be still a pep talk? Will it still be a timeout? Will it still be something that your parents did when you were younger?
I think I'm always going to revert to the beatings if it's really that needed, right? Like if they fucking sneak out the house.
Bleep that out, yo. Bleep that out, yo. I don't want 2023. I don't want you getting caught up on that.
No. I'm not. Nah, man. I ain't leaving that shit out. But like, I really think there's certain things like for me, I'm gonna keep it real short. For me, the reason why I didn't do things is because I knew I was gonna get a beating, right? And even though I did certain things, I always knew the consequences. But I think certain things sometimes does need a harder consequence. But I think just to having that talk for them to understand it is the biggest thing, man. You know what I mean? I know later down the line, man, 7th grade, 6th grade, just because I'm a talker, I'm always going to talk to them. Jasmine's not like that. And that's one of my advantages. Jasmine might be a better, parent at one point or a better just carer. But when it comes to communication and really, giving these hoes the, damn, I didn't call my goddamn daughters these hoes.
Golly.
When I talk to these girls, man, and I really just like talk to them and they really see like, yo, this is daddy talking to me. I think they will really get it because I'm going to be doing that all through their life. From 3 years old all the way up, I'm always going to have talks with them. So I think, to answer your question, I think it might not because I'm always going to do the talking route. I'm always going to try to give them that knowledge. But go ahead, Lawrence.
I mean, on my side, as you get older, of course, punishments become different. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, there's, you know what I mean? You start now with, like, this whole getting themselves. My version of timeout might be different than GQ's, but Mike, for us, it starts all as timeout. But, like, as you get older, it changes to, like, okay, well, you start to lose privileges, and the conversation becomes a little bit different then. My goal for my kids, though, is that, like, when it comes to when they get older, is to have that, to be personal with them, like essentially in this regard, in this aspect. Like I want them to be close enough to tell me when they fuck up, and I could be there for you, and the discipline changes then. You know what I mean? Maybe I can have a conversation with them. I'm like, yeah, you did some stupid shit. You know what I mean? And they can understand it. So I don't have to take it to those extreme routes. Yeah, of course, some kids do take go down bad lanes in life. They do fucked up shit and they keep repeating it. Even the kids that are raised in the most wholesome households still end up on fucked up paths. But it's just my power to do whatever I can to give them the resources to better themselves. You know what I mean? The discipline, like I said, the discipline changes. I don't really, when they get older, I want to be more so like a conversation, and they can understand that they can hear the disappointment in my voice versus me having to like beat them or taking it to the extremes or taking cars away. You can't go to sports and shit like that. So that's kind of like where my mind is going. But like I said, every day it just changes. It doesn't change, but as they get older, you change. You kind of evolve, and you kind of can evolve. You essentially push yourself and try to create the image you want of yourself. You know what I mean? Like that's what I want for myself and my kids. I want my kids to tell me when they're fucking up. You know what I mean? If they are doing something stupid, I want them to call me. You know what I mean? Rather than call me than some fucked up shit happen. They lose their life, somebody else loses their life, or both of them lose their life. You know what I mean?
Man, something is.
Obi out here being motherfucking TJ Holmes and shit. So yeah, Mr. fucking TJ Holmes. The question I have for both of y'all. TJ Holmes is a news anchor that was just recently caught in a scandal of cheating. He's a black man. He asks a lot of questions. So you were asking us a lot of questions. So it kind of went with the joke, but it kind of went over your head. But yeah. Tonight you'll Google it. You'll research it. You be like,
he's definitely going to see that.
Yeah, he going to be like, yeah, that shit makes sense now. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Are either one of you guys scared to have kids?
I'm scared aspect of raising a kid. What did my man Drake say? He's hiding his kid.
I know.
I just fucking knew we could not get through a whole episode without a fucking Drake line being. I just knew we couldn't get through a whole episode. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
There's a scary aspect in the thought just because of how we were just kind of taking, because there's going to be a point where you need a discipline them, right? And obviously we cannot discipline. I don't think we can discipline like we did me or even my parents before that. Because there's a point with the information that's out here that kids have so much gathering information where they can know things that are out of my control, as well as know that there's not much as a parent that loves them that I won't do for them. And once they know that I really can't even do anything about that, and they figure that out, that's a scary thought that they can. It's like the prisoners running an asylum all of a sudden, right? That'd be the worst phrase to say, but it becomes that way. So that is a scary thought that goes through my mind, yes, from time to time. And then another one is just me picking the right partner to do so, who really just understands me, because I'm not going to lie, I'm not an easy guy to understand. You feel me? I'm not an easy guy to understand. I'm not the easiest guy, so I'm not in a relationship right now. So, I mean, yeah, so definitely. There's definitely a scary thought of having.
Yeah, I guess it's more of the fear of the unknown. I'm not like paralyzed by it. Like, I feel like if that's what happened, I could adjust it and I could do it. But, this is more of the fear of the unknown type thing. You hear a lot of great information, but like you guys always say, every situation is different, and you're really not going to know until you end up doing it. But I'm not like terrified, like, oh, I'm not gonna, like, I'd like to have kids. I'm just not gonna have them right now until I get married, at least. Because I feel like you guys, and you guys have also stated this, like, having the right partner is extremely key. So.
And that was my next question. Do you guys think that, with all the knowledge that you guys know, do you think a lifetime partner is needed to have a baby, or would you guys have a baby and co-parent with someone?
Yeah, my ideal situation is a lifetime partner.
Okay. And why is that? Because I feel like society now is like, not saying that, co-parenting is a good thing or a bad thing, but just overall, just like society, just their viewpoints on certain things are just changing. So I wanted to ask you, like, why do you think, what is your whole purpose, or like, why do you think a lifetime partner is beneficial for you to have a kid?
Because it's like, for me, and I've always thought of it, is just having I would have a long-term best friend who actually just knows me unequivocally, right? So if that person, and I'm not saying that that co-parenting thing is just tough for me, because then you might have then another two different parties coming into the mix that I don't feel is warranted at that time, right? So if you separate and then you have that person gets remarried and I get remarried, then you got two different people now coming into the situation that wasn't originally there when you conceived the child. So me, for having a lifetime partner, just having that person who knows you unequivocally, where they understand you. Selfishly, for myself, you have a person that understands you completely, that I think will only flow to the kid. And they can see that bond. And hopefully they see that bond and see how strong that is. I mean, and that's how I was raised as well. So I know society is changing. There's some things I think should stay traditional and stay historical, as opposed to changing as society is changing.
I mean, yeah, that's a very valid point. And even then, like, what's weird is that, like, when you have kids, it's like you learn a new side of your partner. So it's not that they can know you they can know the ins and outs of you, but they don't know the parent Obi. They don't know the parent Njegan. They don't know the parent GQ. They don't know the parent Boog. Like, Ashley's not, I'm not saying Ashley's a completely different person than what she was before we had kids, even though I had known her for a short amount of time. But like in that short time, I could kind of get a just for who she was, and who she is. But the mother Ashley is different from the parent. The mother Ashley is different from the Ashley Levine herself. For instance, like when we go, like even when it's funny because like even when we go out, like the way we act when we're out, like we're out on a date, going to dinner, having a quick bite to eat, couple drinks, chilling, is completely different than it is from when we are in the crib. And that's kind of like that's kind of like I'm not saying it's a false narrative, but it's like, yeah, they can know you in and out, but on the same note, there's a different person that's being born with your child. And that's a fucking line, bro.
Yo, before Njegan goes, I totally agree with that, because I was saying this the other day. I think it was floating around. I was listening to a podcast and she was like, you should date someone when they're rich, poor, I don't know, some other stuff that was like listed out, but it wasn't anything about a parent. It was like, you should date someone when they're at their lowest, when they're at their highest, when they're rich, they're poor, just to like get a sense of who they are. But I guarantee you, bro, when people get kids, they're different, especially women, yo, especially women. Now, not all women, but I think majority of women, they're so focused on being a mother. That
was about to be one of my questions really too.
Fucking irks me.
But I'm gonna answer. That's what I'm saying. I'm gonna answer my question. I'm gonna give you.
Nigga, you gotta answer your question.
But yeah, I would like a lifetime partner too. I mean, statistically, it just gives the child the best chance. And then for my own happiness, I would like a lifetime partner. Like I don't think anybody ever chooses to be a co-parent. Usually what happens is situation dictates that you end up becoming a co-parent. Like, hey, I tried to work with this person, ain't work out. The best situation is we be co-parents. Nick Cannon.
So doesn't Nick Cannon do that?
Nah. All right.
Oh man, we about to be here for 3 hours.
He chose that later though. That wasn't his original destination.
No. I get you, but there's a point in his life where he thought about that. think
Right.
he goes into these saying like, "Yo, you're
But he
not
was
my
married
lifetime
first.
partner."
This is the thing.
It's all part of
is
it's
that
all part of the Netflix rollout.
the reason why some shit doesn't work out, honestly, like, granted, there's some situations where it's like it just doesn't work out. Like, they've tried, maybe they've exhausted all options and shit is just not flowing right. And it's just for the betterment of the child at that point. But a lot of people don't realize it, like, yo, it's a lot of fucking work because you got to be a parent, you got to be a fucking partner as well, and you also got to focus on yourself. That in itself is exhausting as fuck, and a lot of people lack in one of those departments, which is which equivalently just goes to them splitting up, become co-parents.
But do you
That
guys?
makes sense.
I've heard you guys say
Nice.
a lot in this podcast. I've heard you say this word a lot. This phrase a lot. It's a lot of work. Do you think that people don't know that in 2023 that's a lot of work? Because you guys keep saying that.
You're not gonna know. They're not gonna know because they're not parents. You don't know until you're a parent.
You don't. So you don't know the level or the amount of work. But I feel like just knowing who I know and then knowing the information out there and knowing all the podcasts out there and everybody who speaks on it, we know it's going to be a lot of work. So I don't know.
No, there's a difference between
I
knowing
don't-
and living through it. It's,
Yeah,
it's a complete
I agree. But I agree that. But I'm just saying, like, Njegan, like,
No,
you
but
ever
it's
been on the false
like,
pretense
it's
that's
kind
going
of
to
like
be
you said,
easy?
you're not gonna know until you know. Like we know NBA players work hard, but we really don't know how hard a lot of these dudes play.
Now,
That shit is
a lot of
easy out there
A
for
lot
them.
of niggas think NBA players work hard. Like, little kids don't think
Yeah,
NBA
but
players work
it's
hard.
easy out there for them. You get what I'm saying? People think that it's hard out there for them, but some people, the game's easy. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I said, like, I really think of it's different situations. Like, for me, like, Boog has 2 kids, right? So his perception of parenting is going to be very, very different from me. I talk to my other buddy. I think it's easy with 1 kid. I think, like, it's easy to enjoy yourself and do the things you want to do with 1 kid. I think once you get more than 1 kid, I think it's hard work. But with 1 kid, I think if you guys are reasonable, good people and you guys both want the best, I think it's pretty easy with 1 kid. Okay. And I'm not saying easy and like, yo, you could fucking do this, you could do that. I think you can still enjoy life and still be a great parent, just, with 1 kid.
And then I guess
that's my
back
thought
to
on
my
it.
last question. What did you guys talked about, like making time for
Yeah.
yourselves and obviously making time for the kids, but there's a third aspect to it, which is basically being with your spouse. So what do y'all do as far as the relationship to keep the relationship part of it strong outside of the kids?
Oh shit! I hope y'all motherfuckers ready for this. Nah, you wanna go first, GQ?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Shit, it's been a hassle because Jasmine don't be wanting to do nothing because of COVID. Man. So like that's why I know I might say a lot of things over and over again, but it comes down to your spouse, yo. That's what and it's vice versa. There's women out there that are like, yo, I got this great guy, but he don't want to do nothing. He just cool with being a great dad. Like I met this guy at the gym.
Mm-hmm.
And what's all become up.
Charger. Mm-hmm.
You know it was gonna get that 130.
You stop talking?
No, he's
Yeah,
waiting for
we
you.
waiting for you, nigga. I think a lot of it has to do with, like I said, the partner. Just because, like, there's women out there that might have a great guy, but he is so devoted to just being a parent. Like, I just met this guy at the gym. He had like 3 miscarriages, and he prayed to God that he wanted to have a next child, and that if he got the next child, that he would take off 2 years just to raise the child, right? And he did that. He got that opportunity. But he's like, yo, sometimes my wife, she be wanting to do things, but I'm so dedicated to my daughter because I made that promise to God. You know what I mean? So I think it just comes down to people's partner. But like for me, I'll be trying, but Jasmine, you know, she's pregnant now. It's COVID. And then before she was pregnant, a little bit, she's like, I don't want to get COVID while I got the baby. So it's just like, it's been a lot. And then on top of that, we were driving in the car, you know, they be trying to drop like little secret shit on you. She's like, yeah, man, once we get the baby, I don't think we should be doing shit for a while, man, because I don't want the baby to get COVID. Like, you know, like that stuff. So I think it comes down to your partner. I try all the time. Y'all know me. I like to go out. I like to enjoy myself. And you guys know Jasmine too, you know, especially Obi. Before I had a baby, me and Jasmine would go out, you know, we enjoy ourselves. I'm like, man, this shorty motherfucker, she been around the block. You been around the block. But now she's past, like, you know, you were talking about on Friday, hoping that gets out your system. I feel like that's her. She's done all the things she wants to do. She's dated the people she's wanted to date. She's had short-term relationships, long-term relationships, been here, been there, been there. One of the things that makes her fulfilled is being a parent, being a mother. She's got that. So I feel like she really just hold that tight more than anything. But I had to tell her, I said, man, I'm in my prime. All right? All right now, baby. All right? You remember when you was 30, you was out here doing what you had to do. Now I'm 30. I'm in my prime, baby. All right? But that's my take on it. What about you, Lance?
But I mean, the everything you said is all factual. Like, it's different from our dynamic because our women are older than us, right? Like, they've experienced parts of life already that we're now getting to. You know what I mean? Like, you're in your 30s, Jasmine a little bit older than you. Same with Ashley. Ashley's older than me, so she's done the partying, she's in the dating scene, she's done everything. Now she just was so ready to have a child that, like, once she had a child, it was like that was it. And the thing that like and this is not just necessarily for men, but all partners in any relationship, like, yo, sometimes you gotta like force your partner to care for themselves. Like, a lot of people will lose themselves being a fucking parent. Like, they don't know their identity anymore. They don't know how to, like, I used to have to beg Ashley to, like, yo, go get your nails done. Go do this. Go do that. No, I just want to be a dad. She used to come with every excuse in the book. I'm like, bro, you can't do this all day long. Like, you gotta, what makes Ashley happy? And a lot of people, sometimes they lose that part of them. They don't even know what makes them happy anymore. They be like, you tell me, yo, you got 2 free hours to go do whatever you want. They be like, well, what the fuck do I do? You tell me. You know what I mean? It's funny. Quick story. When I was in San Diego, I was working at Enterprise Rent a Car, and I had a couple come down from Saskatchewan to Canada. They were renting a car for me, of course, and they had a newborn. I was just making conversation with them. I was like, oh yeah, I'm about to be a father soon. And I was like, if there's anything that you can tell me, like now, like if there's any type of advice you could give me, what would it be? And the husband was like, you are going to have to force your wife to go take care of herself. There's going to be a lot of times where she loses herself and she's going to drive herself crazy, but you're going to have to be the divider between her and the kids to make her realize that, like, you need to take care of yourself in order to be a part of this picture. You know what I mean? Like, it's cliche as shit. If I'm not a better me, we can't be a better we type shit, whatever. But like, how do you expect to take care of somebody else, right? The seriousness to take care of somebody else if you can't take care of yourself. That's why I always pride myself in, like, my time alone.
That's it.
You know what I mean? I told Ashley this, and every time I say this out loud, everyone laughs at me. But I told Ashley, like, yo, I can't be around you 24/7. I can't be around all 3 of y'all 24/7. And people are like, it's funny. That sounds crazy, but it's true. Because like, Shane's look, GQ laughing about this shit now, but like, I can't, because if I'm around you 24/7, this is what's gonna happen. I'm gonna be in a fucking mess. Then that means you're gonna be in your feelings, and then it's gonna fall into the kids. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta get that separation away from parenthood. You gotta figure out what makes
what I'm
Ashley
hearing
happy
is,
and what makes Ashley the parent happy.
And y'all niggas was saying something like that at the gym. Remember I was telling y'all niggas at the gym.
So what I'm hearing
now everything works out.
GQ said he tried, but he gave up on that part of it. And Lawrence is saying he keeps his relationships together by just making sure Ashley takes care of herself.
Yeah, I need you because I can't.
Because I asked a very specific question.
Yeah, no.
What do y'all do?
No, I ain't give up, but I can't do nothing in this.
But even before she was pregnant,
I can't force
it.
She still goes and does her
what I'm doing to make sure the relationship part of it was still ugly. That's what I'm asking. Yeah,
we go out all the time.
So you just make sure you got date nights.
Go out, go to the movie. I said that.
Y'all still having sex, man?
Nah.
Y'all still having sex, man? Come on, man. Get your real question here, man.
We having a baby.
Okay.
Oh, so now only when it counts, huh?
Like, I'm talking about even after you had your first baby. Like, when y'all still getting down, man?
No, but everyone's different though. That's my thing, yo. Everyone's different because I talked to this one girl, right? Because I always had the perception that girls are horny when they're pregnant. That's not true, yo. There's girls out there. I've talked to a bunch of girls that's like, yo, I ain't even want that nigga to touch me. You feel me? I ain't even want him to touch me.
True.
Right? But then, hold on. But then there's some women that they, you know what I mean? So, like, everyone is different, yo. Yeah. You can say, yo, I do bang boots. You can say, I don't bang boots. That doesn't mean that your situation is going to be one of the, it's going to be
statistically
one way that you want.
Maybe there's
exactly
like 30%.
Yeah.
And another thing, Lawrence, I get you on that 24/7 point about not being around your kids and your wife, because I can't even do that in this relationship without no kids. I can't be around my girl 24/7. That sounds exhausting.
But it's crazy because, like, some people.
So let me ask you this: how much time do you need away from them? Then
is that a question for me?
No, I'm for Lawrence. Okay. Just in general.
Me? I don't need much. I go do as long as I get a piece of Lawrence back. If it's an hour and a half a day, like usually my time to myself is when I get them out the door. I go work out before. I'll take a boxing class before I start work for the day, and I usually get my time there. I just sprinkle throughout the day. I always advocate to go pick up food, groceries, anything to get some quietness. Like, I'll be, you want me to go what tonight? You know what I mean? You just find different ways. But I mean, but Ashley understands it. Like, she knows that, like, there's times during the week, like, we usually have our TV shows for the week. There's maybe like 1 or 2 nights a week where I'll go, if the Celtics is playing or some shit like that, I'll come downstairs, watch basketball, got the podcast. So I find my way around. I'll be around them all the time.
Okay. Learning a lot about
that. I don't know about that. But that GQ's, that whole sex thing with GQ, that shit different for me because we ain't missed a beat.
I just said that.
Oh, y'all ain't missed a beat?
Nah.
That's what I'm talking about, man. Just make sure y'all glove up now, man.
Even though, but I mean, let me not make it seem like I'm just like, it's just, they didn't really miss a beat. It kind of missed a beat at one point in time. Because that whole tired shit, she kept saying, oh, well, I'm tired. But I used to be like, oh, bro, I'm just as tired as you are. I used to always say, I'm just as tired as you are.
Is it the same level of, or is it like,
oh, yeah.
It's that premarital or pre-baby joint?
Nah.
Okay,
no, it's
the same level, same impact.
You better never 4 kids keep fucking around.
Yeah, I know about
the impact is crazy.
Sometimes you get to that different level, man. Y'all know.
Well, and another thing, I've been with Jasmine for 6-7 years. is he just breaking half of that surface. You feel me? He just breaking half of that surface. So 6-7 years.
You said talk to him in 3. Let's talk to him in 3.
Talk to me in 3.
No, I'm not trying to hear what nothing he talk about because I survived the pandemic with 2 kids, the same age. I just sped that shit up. I aged a lot throughout these 2 years. I've learned so much.
You still got at least 40 years to go.
I don't have. No, I don't. No.
I'm talking about you. That you still got years. Y'all in the beginning. Y'all ain't even hit the first third.
You gotta think. The kids.
Nah. I'm about to be on my 3rd because I'm coming up on a 5 bean anniversary, bro. So 5 years. That's a long time.
You gotta think.
Halfway to 10.
You gotta think. Ashley was pregnant. Ashley got pregnant in 2018. So you're 5. You're 5 with 6-7 years. I'm 4 to 5, basically.
Yeah, man.
So 2 years is that much?
It is. And
that's a lot. And plus on top of this, she was pregnant for a whole year. So you probably weren't in it for a whole year.
Hey yo.
So that's -1.
Hey yo.
See, this is the thing with GQ. There's always a technicality with some shit. Let's just.
Hey yo.
So you were hitting at 9 months pregnant?
Nah, she was.
Quiet.
No, I'm not quiet. I'm talking to you right now. She was on bed rest for the last. Hold on. She was on bed rest for the last. For like last month. Let's just say. I was still having sex when she was pregnant. What? Now what? So now it's a whole year. Yeah,
but it's like we said in the beginning of the podcast, it was like a step before.
She was taking it.
You haven't been married yet, so GQ's already had because you know your girlfriend going to your wife going to be a little bit different.
Listen.
You don't. Hey, Njegan, don't explain to him. You think he know it?
No, I don't know. I don't know anything. But what I can tell you this right now, because of my experience was different after being locked in a house with somebody for 2 years and with somebody who is very anti-COVID and doesn't want to catch COVID. Like we were really locked the fuck down. You learn a lot about a person very quickly. So that was like I told Ashley, like, yo, if we make it through this, we can make it through anything. So like it's fine. It's not, doesn't bother me. Like, oh, he don't know. He doesn't know now. Like, nah, I get it. I embrace that's one thing about being a parent is that like, I've learned how to embrace the unknown. Like, I can't necessarily tell you how it's going to go, but I can tell you that I'm going to do the best of my abilities to make it right. And that's kind of like how I look at our relationship too. Is that like, I can't tell Ashley what's going to happen tomorrow or the next week or the next year or 10 years from now, but I can tell you right now that I'm going to do whatever I can to make it right. So if I look at it that way, then it's kind of like, all right, well, you know what I mean? We might not have a good week or a good month, but I know maybe down the line I could make up for it on the back end. You know, you just never know.
Years from now, 2025, I've never been wrong on letting a nigga know about the future. Ask Obi. Ask Obi. I told him about the future, and the future has come, man.
Oh man, you know, niggas always like to talk about when they right, then when they wrong.
Exactly. This was gonna happen. We gonna call him. We gonna FaceTime him together, and we gonna be like, you know all that shit you was talking to Bug? Yeah. What happened now? Yeah, that's what we're going to. We'll make up for it.
Oh, listen, man. Wrap us up, Bug.
Listen, y'all. I want to first and foremost thank my guys Njegan and Obi hopping on the pod. We really appreciate y'all. Pregame on the Hill. Follow them on IG. Njegan, what's your IG handle? You gotta let these people know.
Simple. And
Obi, you'll get an Instagram when you're fucking 55. But most important, but if anything, follow Pregame on the Hill. Diaper Dads, follow us on Instagram, diaper.dads. You catch us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Anchor, Spotify. We there too. Diaper Dads Podcast. Check us out. This is your boy Boog and your boy GQ. We love y'all to death. We'll catch y'all next week. Peace.